I'm just going to present a case of bifurcation and just discuss a couple interesting aspects of bifurcation intervention. This is a lady, 62-year-old obese diabetic who presented with a STEMI, anterior wall. So she's a diabetic obese patient who presented with STEMI. That's right coronary artery, relatively disease-free. This is our left system. As you can see, there's a complex LAD diagonal stenosis with significant thrombus burden. So we wired the LAD first, which is obviously the main vessel. This patient, the key of bifurcation disease management, particularly in acute situation with significant thrombus burden, that's the importance that I want to just show with this case. She was somewhat hemodynamically unstable and morbidly obese patient, so hemodynamic support device placement was not without complications. So we tried to do it. Thrombus aspiration is one way to try and hemodynamically stabilize the patient quickly. So we wired the LAD first and did thrombus aspiration. So that's a cine of the export thrombus aspiration catheter. That LAD kind of opened up. This not only allows us to hemodynamically allow the patient to stabilize, it also then has a little bit of better chance of wiring the diagonal, which is again totally occluded with a lot of thrombus. Unfortunately, the PowerPoint presentation of this that I had prepared was not loading on this. So I'm doing the now then we wired the diagonal and then the thrombus aspiration of the diagonal. The key is to do optimal thrombus aspiration. So you have a better understanding of the bifurcation. As you can see, once the vessels opened up, the more unstable of both is the diagonal. And the diagonal branch is as big or equally important as the LAD. The LAD flow, as you can see, is now brisk and underlying lesion is not clearly unstable. So the important aspect that I want to point out in bifurcation disease is until you really open up the bifurcation, you don't know which is unstable of the two, particularly in major bifurcations. We'll run that one more time. As you can see, the LAD flow is better. We then did a kissing balloon angioplasty. And this is another aspect I want to point out is after you have had the bifurcation nicely open, you have to take multiple views to look at the bifurcation properly to decide where the takeoff of the diagonal is. That's key in Dr. Rath was pointing out different approaches to stenting, including V-stenting, T-stenting, mini crush, color technique, the tap technique, and all those. The key in bifurcation stenting is to get a good view of where the diagonal origin is and the angle of bifurcation. Because in this situation, diagonal being a more important vessel, because it was unstable, the unstable lesion was more of the diagonal, and it's equally big size vessel, we decided to actually stent the diagonal, not the LAD. And the technique for that I used is to use a balloon butting technique, which is actually have the stent go past the bifurcation, parked in the diagonal, inflate a balloon in the LAD, and then pull the stent to butt against the balloon and deploy it. So this more splayed view to look at the bifurcation. Sorry, I had to do this in a single clip at a time. Here's a demonstration of that. The balloon is up in the LAD, and the stent in the diagonal is not deployed. We then use the balloon as the marker to pull the stent as close to the ostium as possible off the diagonal. Open up both the vessels and then decide which one you're going to stent based on which one of the two has more unstable lesion. In acute MI presentations, managing the thrombus before you commit to stenting is a very important aspect, and that allows us to properly assess the vessels, stabilize the patient hemodynamically, then you have time to decide, and then splay the vessel properly and so you can see the ostium of the branch, and then stent the vessel which is more unstable. And then the balloon, tracking technique to stent a vessel by having a low bar inflation of a balloon open before you stent the branch are the points I wanted to make. This patient was done in 2010, and she's still doing fine without having stent the LAD. Take any questions.
Okay.